Hi, thanks for joining me. This is Angie at Chicken Scratch, and this is the very first video for the Raw Edges Square Quilt. Okay, so we're going to be using a layer cake, a charm pack, and a mini charm pack, all of the same fabric, okay? So what we're going to do is, we're not even going to touch the layer cake yet. We're going to decide which square we like best on each of our square. So you could start at the back, and you could place it out just like that. And what I did is I just put these on my kitchen table. I put all 40 out and I just put my square inside. So that's the first thing we're going to do, is decide our squares that's going to go on our square. So you're not going to touch the layer cake just yet, so just set that aside. Now, before I decide these, I want to show you this quilt so that you can make sure that you want to make this one. Not all quilters are a fan of raw edges. My very first quilt, in fact my first several quilts, were raw edges. It was the flower quilt and then the butterfly, and I absolutely love the raw edges. And I can't take credit for this design. I'll make sure I link to the person that actually made this quilt. She did make it a little differently. She used a jelly roll and I'm using the mini charm. But there weren't many charms back, I think, when she designed this quilt. So anyway, this is not my creation, but I have used or done a lot of raw edge quilts, and I love, and as you wash it, it will get even softer and scrufflier. Okay? So I'm going to pause the camera, and when I come back, I will have decided all of my how I'm going to place my little charms on here. Oh, let me back up for just a second, and I want to show you. On my original one that I made, I took my mini charm square and I also made it my layer cake. So that way I didn't have to guess a whole lot. But it doesn't give me enough, I don't know, variance in color. So I am not going to do that this time. If you prefer, I will tell you it's a whole lot easier, because all you got to do is decide your mini charm, which 5-inch square you're going to put it on, and then you choose the same layer cake to go under there. But I'm going to try to mix mine up a lot more, because there's a lot of colors in this this pattern that I chose. Okay, so I will see you in a little bit. Okay, so I have got all of my mini charms placed on top of my charm. And now what I'm going to do is take it over to my table, and I'm going to glue the mini charm on top of the charm. So I'll be back in just a second. Okay, so what I've done is placed a post-it note on the first block of every row. I am going vertically, not horizontal. So I don't know if I can find my first one. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and start gluing. We'll find that second row in just a minute. So I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to take this square, and I'm only going to apply glue to the inside piece, or to the inside, not around the edges. And then I'm just going to place it right in the middle. Now, if you want it to be exact, then you could measure it with a ruler. I'm going to turn this upside down because I do want to keep these in order. I kind of fiddled with it long enough that I kind of like the pattern I have going. So we still have to attach these to our layer cakes, but and that could change how I have it positioned, but for now I'm liking how it looks. So I'm going to finish this first row, and then what I'll do is take it to the sewing machine, and I'm going to sew around this block with a 1/4-inch seam. So this is our last block on row 1, vertical rows. So I will see you at the sewing machine. Okay, so I have got row 1 here, and I'm going to just set my entire stack over here. I'm going to start with the first one, and all I'm going to do is sew a 1/4-inch seam around the entire square. I also want to make sure that I keep my needle down so that I can pivot when I get to the end. And I'm not going to the end. I'm just kind of eyeballing about 1/4 of an inch, and then I'm going to pivot. And you can see I kind of fell short on that one because I was too busy talking. I'll do a little bit better on this one. And it doesn't have to be exact because these are going to be raw edges. So this 1/4 inch seam is really going to be covered up by the raw edges. And I just went over a little bit. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. One more stitch. Okay, so now I'm going to raise my foot. Well, there we go. And I'm just going to pull it back just a tad. And then I'm going to take the next square. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. And I want to make sure that I pull this one out enough that it doesn't actually get sewn onto this one. I have accidentally done that before, so just be mindful of that. Okay, so I'm going to do this entire first row just so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Again, I want to put that needle in the down position. I tell everyone, I think I meditate when I do this part. I've done a lot of raw edges quilts, so yeah, I meditate, I think. Okay. Now I know this seems like it's getting all twisted, but let me show you just a second. Okay, so this is the first one. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and stick my Post-it note back on there. It's really not going to get mixed up because this is 1, this is 2, and the next one I'm about to do is going to be 3. But if you were to get up and go somewhere and then come back, you might forget where you were. So it's a good thing to just put that Post-it note back on there. Yeah, that doesn't need it. Okay, same thing, lift my needle, pull it back. And you don't have to do this chain stitching if you want to just cut the thread. If you have an automatic thread cutter, that's one of the things that this machine does not have, but one of my other ones does. And I am a huge fan of an automatic thread cutter. Yeah, but this one, I love the sound of the sewing. I love how it sews. So I always gravitate towards the Bernina. Okay, so needle up, raise my foot, pull it back. I'm probably wasting thread by doing that, but like I said, I don't want to have to cut my threads each time. Well, one more. That needle down position, I really love. Okay, so I've gotten to the end of the very first row. Now I'm just going to separate these. So I'm just going to snip these threads. Okay, got that turned around for a second. Hopefully this is all in the camera. Okay, so this is my first row. And I've lost my Post-it note, but it is the first row. It's back there somewhere. Okay, so now I'm going to end this video at this point. This is the end of video number 1. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and sew all of my mini charms on top of my 5-inch charms. And then the next video, we're actually going to place this on our layer cake and decide our pattern for that. Okay, so don't forget, if you have any questions, to join our Chicken Scratch Quilt Along Facebook group. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks a lot. Bye.